Hello and welcome to Pardon the Interception. Coming to you this week, your hosts. My name is Lee Wood,
I think Taylor.
And so would.
who is trying to hide his chin by the looks of things this week.
Nick Taylor.
Right, let's have a look and see what has been going on around the leagues this week. So we'll start off with the GFL, and I mean, my eyes are drawn to an 80-0, then I realised the Hulk are one of the teams involved in it.
It's a big loss. Big loss. Not many close games here, actually.
Quake
Steelers-
Empire. Quake Empire.
Quake Empire, yeah, Quake Emperors is the closest game I think I can see here.
Steelers
You've got the
Thames
Steelers
Tower.
Tower, and you've got the coach with no name losing again, which I think is going to have quite a big effect on the standing. So, being 5 weeks in, we should expect to be able to see a better playoff picture now. Trevor Steelers, oh, that's the first one. Why did I think that was their second loss?
I don't know.
But they lost to Thames Valley. They lost to, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah. So
they had a close game last week.
They lost to a 2-2 team.
Yeah.
Which really opens that division up a little bit.
There's a lot of close, other than the AFC South and the AFC West one. The other divisions are all pretty close.
Yeah, the Raiders and Wraiths are should win their divisions quite comfortably by the looks of that. NFC West looks like it's going to be a shootout between the Quake and the Hawks.
Yeah. Although the Emperor's only a game back. And
True.
their record in division is fine at the moment.
It's different free horse race.
Yeah, I imagine they played the Witchcraft twice, which is. The Gunslingers actually, like, their record looks quite good. I guess they've lost to the race. Or I know they played the Hulk this week, so maybe that's.
They lost the Mules and the Wraiths.
They've scored a lot of points against the Hulk this season, though. 165 points against the Hulk.
Is it me or does that just feel like if you've played the Hulk twice, that feels like a low amount of points?
I don't know. So,
7 points. I mean, come on, Gary. Must try harder.
they're an interesting team to watch because they've lost to two teams with better records, and so they've played the Hulk twice, so we don't really know where they are. Other than second in that division, of course.
Yeah, the AFC East is going to be an interesting one to watch out as well.
Yeah, points differences are close as well. Pirates Mules would be a good game. Assuming they've still got a game to play against each other.
Anything else from anyone before we move on to the Atlantic?
GFL.
I said the Atlantic, not the Big Sky.
No, just getting bored by the GFL.
Oh, GFL looks pretty close this season.
I guess it's better than last season.
Yeah.
I mean, the big difference is we actually know something about the league this year as well. We're not just relying on Conrad, the splitter, Williams.
We know absolutely nothing about anything. Come on.
But we know more than we did before.
Yeah, but something more than 50% more than nothing. Still nothing.
So Simon, I see you're bouncing back with an absolute spanking of the Anacondas here.
He was putting out a second string team, I think.
It also proves that you go against the teachings of Sir Mix-a-Lot. You don't want none unless your Anaconda doesn't get sprung unless they've got a big behind. There's a joke there somewhere that I'm messing up massively.
You're going to say Mix-a-Lot when you're trying to do a Nicki Minaj song. It's
No, because his Anaconda don't want none unless you got buns on. So obviously you do not have any buns.
Yeah,
baby got back. Come on.
Baby got back.
Baby got back. Yeah. That's the only hit Sir Mix-a-Lot has.
Yeah, I know. But I'm just going for the worst version.
I didn't know Nicki Minaj did a cover of it.
Called Anaconda.
Oh, sure.
It's a bit
Stingrays,
better.
Stingrays Kings. Yeah, why make a modern reference when I can make an 80s reference?
Yeah, okay, to be fair, 80s references are better for the general gridiron audience.
Yeah, 80
Let's
and
be
80s.
honest. Maybe they want to learn something, Lee.
Some close games here. Stampede. Stampede beating the Sharks.
Heroes beating the Stallions.
Heroes beating the Stallions. Warriors beating the Tigers in a close game.
Stingrays Kings. Look at that. 61-54.
Yeah, that's a pretty good game.
Battle right there.
That is a ding-dong battle indeed.
Scorpions losing was a highlight for me.
Well, I've got to get my 5-5 back on track, so I needed to lose this week.
True, but the Islanders are winning games.
They did have it as their key game, I think, as well. And they're at home.
Spitfires, Meerkats. Closer than I think we would have expected it to be.
Meerkats putting a fair number of points on the board.
Looks like the Meerkats' offense is great, but their defense is leaky as hell.
Would not surprise me, but if I remember their picks for the last 2 or 3 drafts as well.
So looking at the standings, I'm still looking good for the Gary Lyon Award.
Yeah, but you gave up points to Kendall, so
6.
Black mark.
Oh, gave up points to Kendall. Yeah, sure. But the number 1 pick is more important because it allows me to beat Kendall for longer in the future.
Yeah, Dave Smart's coming for you.
A long game.
I kind of hope he picks up a win because then I might be able to squeak a week 10 win, still get the number 1 pick, and get the first win incentive. Go for ultimate greed.
That's just greedy.
Everyone like greed.
CFC East is looking fairly close. Looks like a 5-5 team will probably win the division, as has become usual in the League of Mediocrity.
That's it. You got to know what your goal is, and your goal is 5-5 or 6-4 probably pops it up quite easily.
CFC South and CFC West both look quite nice and tight.
The CFC West is the yin to the CFC East yang. Like the Stampede, the Avalanche, the Sharks are all as good as each other, I would say. So probably going to get at least 2, if not 3, in the playoffs from that division. I reckon.
You'll be difficult to get 3 just because I think the Warriors Stingrays are going to push.
Yeah, but I reckon one of them will fall off a bit. I don't think the Warriors have been challenged that much.
Yeah, but you're underestimating the beardy weirdy.
I think the Warriors will get the wild card spot.
We'll find out.
Division.
Looking at the MSC North, the differential in the win-loss between the Spitfires and the Meerkats makes that Meerkat Spitfire game even weirder in terms of how close it was.
I think the Meerkats have put quite a few points on the board in most of their games.
I don't think 1 and 4 is a fair representation of how they're doing.
They were decent. Well, it might be a season or so away from having a more competitive team in that division.
The best thing about the Meerkats is they beat the Blues in week 1.
Yeah,
only lost for the Blues, right?
Yep, which is very interesting, right?
Does that speak of how strong the MFC North is? How weak the Blues are, or just random bullshit that happens in week 1?
No, I think the MFC East is quite a weak division at the moment. The Blues have lost the first round of the playoffs the last 2 seasons, I think. And Sonics are under new management. Sonics and the Cyclones have struggled for quite a while. Just to get anything going. So it's sort of like the Blues to lose at the moment.
Yeah. The MSC East, it definitely feels like it's the Blues divisions to lose.
Yeah. MSC South, like the Rapiers Spartans battle is going to be interesting for at least this season, probably a few seasons to come.
King versus Jez Bloodbath.
Good to see LJE doing shit. We always approve of this.
I'd rather Kendall was doing shit.
Kendall's winning the MSC West, so
yeah. All right. Anything else before we move on?
Have a look at the riveting.
The Riveting League. And as predicted, the Rivets won.
If they win the boldness this season, do they get to rename the league?
I mean, it's a petition we should definitely put in.
The GFL Rivets.
They did only win by 6 points, though. I think it should be going to be the closest that we pushed all season.
It should be GFL Original Conrad.
Titans Storm. Storm was close game with the Titans getting a road win there.
Good win for the Webster Super Weasels there. The Shadows.
Rhinos Knights, another nice tight game there.
Another win for the Massive.
Up the Massive.
A big win for the Eagles.
The Buccaneers are in a rebuild mode, so as we were expecting big things out of them, but they traded Davies, so that LFC East looks bizarre, man.
50501414.
No, 50500505. LFC East.
Sorry, I looked at West for some reason. It's not too far off the same thing.
It's not too far off, yeah.
There's a lot of polarizing divisions here. Like the PFC West is 50411414.
Yeah.
Even the PFC North is 5041.
Does this speak to the health of the league? Is there a big discrepancy between the teams pushing and the rest of the teams? Are a lot of teams rebuilding at once? I don't know is the honest answer to that question. But
it's hard to know for sure.
It's odd to see this many leagues with that high discrepancy.
The Stormers are 1-4 and they pushed the Titans within 2 points of winning this week.
Yeah.
I think there's also that slight issue of like if the top 2 teams are very good, then the 2 teams further down, it's a struggle to know exactly how good they are. I know the Buccaneers that they're rebuilding very well. Obviously, the West. Look at coaches in the PFC side. So probably a bit of fixing going from there in terms of the West.
Yeah, I mean, I say that without any prejudice. Yeah, it's just it's a question because I mean, definitely on the LFC side, the East and the West. If I looked at this in a vacuum, would say, well, there's 2 very good teams and 2 very bad teams.
Yeah, I mean, if you look to the LFC alone, you've practically got your playoffs sorted already.
Yeah.
2 4-5-0 teams and 2 4-1 teams.
Yep. They should basically be the teams making the playoffs.
I mean, the Rushmores are the only other team really in the show. And that's just if they can beat the Storm Giant Hornets, then it's whoever wins that division.
The 5-0 thing will sort itself out this week because the Phoenix play the Statesmen, the Fire play the Devils.
Yeah, I assumed that
Sharks play the Massive. The Garden City Irish play the Royal Buccaneers.
It'll be interesting to see who wins those games. That'll be interesting next week.
It's going to be really good divisional week.
Yeah, it'll be good for the playoff picture in terms of divisional winners and bye weeks and stuff.
And we all know that any team that I chose, no matter what record they're on this week, next week they're going to be on 3-3.
Yeah. True. But I quite like the Seattle Generals going 4-1 because Alex is a brand new coach.
Yeah, having a brand new coach go 4-1 means they've got a very good grasp of the game. They've got a good mentor, or they're just lucky as anything.
I reckon they've got the best mentor ever.
Are you mentoring them?
Set you up for that one.
I mean, I don't know if you actually are. So.
I am.
Okay. Fair enough. And so he's basically not listening to anything you say.
Correct. He knows what he's doing, see?
Anyway, should we move on to the continental? I'm going to take silence as yes. Badgers. Badgers back to doing badgery things.
Who do you reckon got more average yards, Strom or Ranguta?
Ranguta this week. Let's have a look.
Average yards.
Oh, it's a tie.
It's a tie.
You probably already knew that. So. I only have one screen.
Admittedly, I'm going to go into deep into the numbers and work out the decimal points past that. So I know that I think Gridiron works to 7 decimal points.
There's some big scoring single point wins there. Thunder versus the Ravens is 49-50. And game without Monarchs, Eagles is 41-42.
Yeah, there's some big single points. I wonder if they had any missed field goals in them or missed extra points.
And Patriots 34, Wasps 33 as well.
This looks like a nice league at the minute, to be honest, in terms of the scores. Let's see if the standings sort of measure that up. This is probably more what I expect standings tables to look like compared to the Big Sky. There's a nice sort of mix. There's a few dominant teams, but then most of the tables, the numbers go down in a near sequential order.
There's still some gaps. Are you the Badgers? You'd expect to look up your division. Renegades quickly as well. And then you've got like 2, 4, and 1 teams in the world card to 5 and 4, 1, 2 in the RFC sections. UFC looking pretty locked up as well. Locked up in the loosest sense of the word, you know.
If I took all of the points that the Westies have scored and all of the points that they've had scored against them and added them to points scored for the Hulk would still have a negative points differential.
Yeah. That's interesting. See the classics still doing well, wouldn't you?
Yeah, it is nice to see the classics doing well. I don't really have an awful lot to comment on this. The biggest ding dong battle, it's obviously from just a quick glance, is the RFC North.
Yeah.
But there's some 5-0-4-1s, some 4-1-3-2s. There's a lot to play for. I think this coming divisional week is going to be a key week for every league pretty much across all of the leagues in Gridiron. But I think that's really going to help us get a better picture of what we would expect the playoffs to be.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of teams that can go from 3 and 2 to 4 and 2, even 2 and 3 to 3 and 3 to put a little bit of pressure on.
Yeah, because if you've got 3 losses, you're basically looking to win out from here.
Yeah.
Unless you're in Nick's division, then you just need to win 3 and lose 2, and then you're guaranteed something, right?
Yeah.
Anything else before we move on? The Delta, otherwise known as the home of the Wap Wap. So
what's going there?
This game here, Copperhead Centurions.
Do you know why it's the best game, Nick?
Because Kendall lost.
Kendall lost.
Correct.
Kendall lost by a point.
I think I find the best game is the Zeppelin one.
Hang on. There was a missed extra point somewhere, I think.
Wait, would I rather Kendall lost by a point or 50 points?
By a point, because
exactly.
It makes him rage more.
Because then he feels even more upset about it.
Admittedly, I don't see the word fuck typed in block capitals there anywhere.
Might say something about both teams' defense.
They had one.
Who got MVP? What did they do?
Interestingly, I thought by rule the MVP had to go to a member of the winning team.
It's not guaranteed, but it's heavily weighted.
Okay.
I think.
He does have 9 touchdowns.
Bro has 7. But yeah.
Bro.
Yeah, it turns out the investment in Bro was worth it. But I think all of these some of these big point wins make the stand-ins of look interesting. Venom getting a sneaky win. Sunblazers beating the
The King of Melksham, Lee. King of Melksham.
All right, then, if you want to be a king of Melksham, you can be.
I'll go there on Friday just to assert dominance.
49ers beating the Plague.
Cougs lost.
Cougs lost, yeah, to the Robber Barons. That's
my team shit this year. And I've
that's Aaron.
Two of the best. No, that was Glenn at the start of the season.
Oh, Glenn does that every season. We just ignore him now.
He was even louder about it this season, though.
Yeah. But it should make some interesting standings in the Delta. So the Zeppelin being 4-0, I don't think anyone realistically can say they expected the Zeppelin to be 5-0.
I've become a big Zeppelin fan. That's why I backed them a few weeks ago.
GFC North is probably how we expected it to be. GFC South, I was expecting the Chaos probably still to be 4-1 at this point.
Well, they are Chaos.
Zeppelin are a lock for the playoffs because their schedule is really not that great.
Yeah, and you can only play the teams in front of you.
Exactly,
says the coach of the Jorvik Jets. The GFC West is very interesting. It's difficult for the 49ers to win the division, but not impossible.
Well, they must be playing the Robber Barons or something.
They've already played the Robber Barons twice, and they beat the. So that was the Cougars.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, they only lost by 7 points on the road.
True.
Big game this week then against the Cougars.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, if they win
big week 10 game potentially coming up there.
Yeah, they're going to struggle in week 8, though. That's their problem.
Quite possibly. They're the surprise package team because on paper they should do well, but they never seem to turn the paper into. They're basically the Houston Texans of the league. They look good on paper but never convert it.
VFC looks pretty interesting.
VFC looks meaty in the East, just because Kendall might not make the playoffs, and that would make me happy.
But Andy sold his soul to Aaron. I don't like that.
Who hasn't sold their soul to Aaron at some point in time? I traded in a quarterback from Aaron in the Atlantic. I made the bowl. I traded in a quarterback from Aaron in the Delta. I'm 5-0.
Sold your soul to Aaron. We'll come back to haunt us all when he destroys the league again.
I mean, I gave up a 4th round pick. I'm not too concerned. Patriots looking good in the north. Carefully are mounting a slow comeback there, but the game behind in division is going to be key. I might be able to lock my division up this week.
And the Titans this week.
Yeah.
Well, then you won't. You can't possibly lock up your division, can you?
Go 6-0, 4-0 division. It's not a mathematical lock.
Outside chance he loses to Rogues or Metropolitans.
I've played the Metros twice.
So if you win this week, and then you have to lose to the Rogues, and the Titans have to win every game, and then overtake you on the points differential, which they're 190 points behind at the moment.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be impressed if that happened.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a mathematical lock, but it's fairly close. If I win twice, I'm locked, I think. Frome doing Frome things, even though they have a heavy injury, but I think they're going to be comfortable taking their division.
What heavy injury? He's just been moaning about stuff. He has no injuries.
His fullback's out, supposedly.
Got a fucking B. Behave.
Is that literally it?
Nothing.
God, he's moaning about that. A slight nickel. Oh,
he probably had a bigger.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
But still, He's probably recovered every week. So it probably was like an E or an F.
I think it was an E or an F in week one.
But still, stop moaning, mate.
But Lee, behave. You're winning. Your running back's coming back. Eisenhart doesn't have to bring out the Zimmer frame yet. Mariners not doing quite as well as I expected. I expected there to be a 4-1 there rather than a 3-2. But yeah. Anything else?
I will say this league, because a lot of the 3 and 2s are a lot more in it than the previous two leagues we've looked at.
Yes,
I
would agree.
There's not so many like 5-0-4-1s knocking around.
No, there's only 3 teams on 5-0.
So the 3 and 2 teams the next couple of weeks are going to be pretty big for them.
Should we move on to Nick's favourite league?
Yeah, we have got the Simon Bowl next week. Just FYI.
The Simon Bowl. I might have to redig out the stats for that. All right, see what jumps out here to me.
Well, the big teams are winning. Jacksonville, 500 are letting us down again.
Ever since they traded out Postman Pat, they just haven't been the same.
Thundering Herd as well.
Hard man to replace Postman Pat.
Having a look at the standings, the Kings are dominant, as dominant as they have been for a while.
Yeah, I think we've reached a point where some of these teams have become very dominant the last 2 seasons. So where it was quite close a few seasons ago, you've got like Jaguars, Red Bulls, Kings, Storm, and Bounty looking pretty solid in the divisions, right?
Were the Jaguars dominant last season, or did they just win the division? Let's have a quick look.
Brand new coach this year as well.
The 2 seasons before, but like 9-1 into.
Yeah, okay.
That looks like a good
season.
He's predicting to lose out, so.
An impressive performance season. Yeah.
I know the Red Bulls were fairly dominant.
Yeah, I mean,
Bounty were. District 12 Storm, look at the coach's surname, that's all you need to know. The Kings.
I mean, I think the Red Bulls are my favourite for the E at the moment. However, the Jacksonville High Hunters getting a bit worse has really opened up that division.
Yes, it really has. It looks like the Patriots might be the best team in that league.
Yeah, and I actually find one of my favourite divisions to watch is actually the BFC West. The Lions and Russians, the Lions have what looks like a pretty solid defense, and the Russians just go out and try and score as many points as they can, and they come together and we'll see what happens. The Wranglers aren't quite there, but if they could put that into a 3-horse race in the long run. PFC West, anyone could win that next season. Except
anything else before we move on?
Also, the Thundering Herd on 0-5 have got up 115 points.
Yeah.
For an 0-5 team is not.
However, they have conceded exactly double the amount they've scored.
Yeah, mind you, the Lone Star Texans have scored 123 points in 0-5 as well. So.
Are you enjoying the Thundering Herd because they are the Scorpions of this league?
No, I enjoy Thundering Herd because every game guarantees points.
Do you not remember last season in the PFC West?
No.
The Thundering Herd, I believe, won with 5-5.
Might well have done. That's the classic.
Yep.
I will say that last season I did just put like my third string out in the last game of the season because that's nothing to gain for it.
Oh yeah, we sat there and did the maths. I can't remember if we did that on stream or not, but there was no point you risking your players.
People can get a much better. Happens to me in the past. So
because you don't have the option of playing them for like 1 quarter and then removing them like you do in real life. You have to just sit them for the entire game.
And if there was an option to just put them in like a quote unquote safe mode, don't go for any big plays or anything like that.
I mean, there is the argument that you can put out your B team and then put your A team out in the game over offense.
It's just not worth risking it.
Exactly. I agree with that.
The Thunder and Herd are interesting because they haven't missed the playoffs for ages. Just looking at that. And then this year they're going to massively miss. They must have been a rebuild.
Well, I mean, they have been declining.
Yeah, I think last season the coach mentioned that they were fortunate to make the playoffs. This season was going to be a bit of a rebuild.
Yeah. Has anybody got any closing notes?
I'm quite looking forward to next week. It should really paint a picture for
definitely should have a good week because we have a lot to talk about from the divisional games. I would have thought because they really mix up the standings a lot. So potentially a bumper episode next week.
Should be good.
Simon looks really confused by this, or he's taken a crap. I'm not sure which.
Maybe it's a bit of both.
You look very Grandad Dave like that. With that, it's goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
It's goodbye from me.